Okay. No, ngiyafika ngempela. But sikhona. Siyicebula abantu. What a special evening. I am very nervous because, of course, when you speak from the heart, when you speak about something that means a lot to you, you kind of are very vulnerable to the environment. So please pardon the voice. I don't do this quite often. So thank you for being here with us tonight. It means a lot. I know it's a Friday and abantu baya, baya Durban July. So yeah, I just think that this is such a meaningful thing for us as a production company. I think this is more than just a show. It's a response to a human need. So welcome to the launch of Icebo Labantu. In South Africa, there are far too many families that are left stranded, wondering, "Guthi, suwenze njani?" I know that my family's been in that situation where singazi ngempela ukuthi sizowenze njani. Nasi isifo sesifikile, asinamali, kwenziwani? Siyocela omakhelwane, abantu bakhuluma ngathi, kuningi, and so I think when I realized that this is actually not just in my community, in my neighborhood, that this was a thing that was happening across the country. Many families haven't even been able to bury some of their loved ones since COVID. You can imagine some of the stories that are out there and the shame that comes with that. I think this is more than just a show. This is an idea that's here to change lives. I, as a producer, have been inspired by programs like Zola 7, Kumbule Kaya. These are meaningful and real stories. And I think when you find companies like Icebo Lethu and teams like the Bar Group and so on and so forth, you find real solutions in there. You find real businesses that want to make real impact. And so I really think that we are in a time where it's cool, it's all good and well. We as a company have been responsible for some of the greatest shows out there in popular culture. I'll name them later. But essentially, I think it's also time to do some good, real, meaningful work with better outcomes. We're in a time in our country where we need to look up and to find corridors that are more inspiring and that lead us somewhere. Somewhere great and somewhere with a difference. And so at the Bar Group, what we want to do is we want to do that work. We want to be able to champion change. We want to be able to be, I guess, the custodians of this new era in content. I really, really want to be able to emphasize here that this, again, is more than just a show. Because a show, I guess, kind of suggests that this is here for entertainment. Let's forget about our lives. Let's dive into someone else's life. Let's kind of, forget about each other and, dive into something meaningless. I think for me, this is an opportunity to inspire community, inspire help, because we live next to each other, but we don't know each other. We don't know what we're going through. We don't know what we're, faced with. There's no sense of community anymore. We know so many people through social media. We know so many people through these new portals that we forget our own neighbors. What's happening down the road? And so when I say this show invites that type of attitude, invites that type of help, or that type of, I guess, urgency to look next door, to look down the road, if that happens, we would have done our job, really. I think it's all good and well to talk about my team. It's all good and well to talk about the idea, but it takes more than just these things to kind of put a show like this or to put an initiative like this together. So I'd really like to extend my deepest thanks to Icebo Lethu for partnering up with us, not just to raise awareness and not just to, show what we can do and how we can bury, but really to attend to a need that is kind of really endemic in our country, So I know that it's easy to say "Icebo lethu," and move on. There are people behind this company. There are people that are championing this initiative. And here today, we've got the COO, Mr. Webster. I know you've loved the episode or the episodes. When I first met you, I was very worried because, you know, I didn't know whether you would get this. I didn't know whether you would agree with what we have done. But I saw you, and I watched you watch the episode. You were a whole season to me. And so I really appreciate how you've taken on and given us feedback and guided us. Through you, we've learned what really Icebo lethu does, and what you guys care about is exactly what we see here on screen today. So thank you so much for your words on the day we viewed the episode. To Unqobile, I think she is your soldier. Everybody needs a frontline like that. Everybody needs to watch the rands, the cents, and every single detail that goes into whatever project you guys kind of champion. She's the CFO, and you know, yeah, there've been some real conversations there because I think any CFO has to protect exactly what they need to protect in order for us, you know, to be successful at the end of the day. My goodness, what a CFO. I really think you've hired some great soldiers there. But also to some unsung heroes, the burial team. I think, you know, every single organization has a backbone and has integrity and has all these things, but I met some of them and I really feel like you guys are truly a burial team. You guys have people who care. You guys have people who really, really put themselves in the family shoes. And I say that because I've seen the footage. I've also seen and been in meetings where people are really attentive and want to add to the idea. We had a simple idea, but meeting the burial team, it meant that we were engaging a bit more than what I thought. I think when you create, or when I create rather, and many other creatives can attest to this, you have an idea, that's your first thing, and then you go to the third, then you really are starting to really chip away at the idea and understand what the idea is. With the team, I think we went to the 7th iteration of the idea, and we found ourselves really having a successful show. There is another engine from Unkosentle, as he said, the marketing team. The marketing team is more than a marketing team. I think they know you guys, they know your DNA, they know exactly what is meant to be done. Sir, thank you so much. There was a day where we sat, I had just come off set, and you called me. We sat, I think, at a nearby strip mall, and you told me about a need. And I think we didn't even order, we just ate the bread that they gave us for free there, because we were so engrossed in the solution. The solution is the show, but I think there's something about you, Nkosentle, that I really want you to know. From a brother, you have held me, you have given me hope. In the past 5 years, the industry has been so tough, and I want you to know that today, is that you gave me life. Honestly, brother, I really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate everything your team does. There's another lady, Oni. She is absolutely a soldier. I absolutely appreciate her. I appreciate her tenacity. I appreciate how she held on when I was even like, yabola, shuti ngempela umuntu uyophumula icebo lethu. Because kuyabheda. Anyway, so essentially, I think there are teams on teams on teams, and there are people behind these teams, and so I genuinely really appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who's here. I actually thought we were all going to be in all white. I'm very surprised because nyazi ukuthi nenzani icebo lethu. I guess that's held for, I guess we'll hold that for December. There is another soldier, I think. She's not here. She's currently traveling overseas. Unompundo Mqoyi is absolutely a remarkable person. And I think, you know, she had the idea, the original idea, to bury people. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. The fact that a production house comes up to her and says, this is a show, and the capacity for that, for me, is what is in a wonder, an awe. I'm really in awe of this lady's detail. She tore this episode apart. I'm sorry to say, Portia. Portia is our director. She has been flawless. But when it came to us watching this, I saw detail like I've never before. So Nomfundo is quite successful. She's amazing. We know her companies. It's brilliant to watch. But it's also brilliant to see her in action. So, you know, you could be offended if you're in the room, but if you're wanting to grow, I think you need to invite people like that in your life. Because, you know, no, umuntu uphumela pa ethi no, fewer, and uzongingcwaba. Ekugcineni uzongingcwaba because ngempela usisi uyazi ukuthi kwenziwani, and her bottom line is quite clear. So to partner up with somebody like that is absolutely an honor. It's an honor to partner up with a black company, but that doesn't just live there, because of course we know that that's a buzzword. We know that female-led, black, this is more than that. This is a real company. This is a company that strives for more. Even when it's done a lot more, it still strives for more. That is a special thing. For us who look up to her, I think there are many, I think we need to actually shoot something behind the scenes, something, so that we can actually one day show what I'm talking about, because there's absolutely no way. I'd like to thank the SABC. I think the SABC has suffered this reputation as if it doesn't do much for content, local content in this country. You will know that the SABC has done a lot for us. When we were growing up, we used to watch SABC. We wouldn't know what TV production is if we weren't watching Generations, if we weren't watching Izinto Enjengokhumbula Ekhaya, or so on and so forth. I think SABC is where we all huddle for education, where we all really see ourselves through a portal that may not be available to us in the immediate community that we live in. And I want to urge anyone who wants to create content, who wants to be a part of this industry, do not forget the SABC. Do not forget the SABC. The SABC, for me, this is a return home. I started there when I was really producing kids TV, Yo TV that is, and I'm absolutely happy to be back and producing something so meaningful. I want to thank the team. This is more than just an advertiser-funded program. It's truly a game changer for the SABC. I want to go back to my team. I really want to thank my team. I really want to thank Palisa. You are an absolute leader. Thank you so much. You look great, by the way. Thank you so much. I really want to thank Tidi. Tidi, thank you for joining us. You have leadership in you, and I think it's amazing to watch how you've taken on and never looked back. Thank you so much for this. Tabani, thank you, my brother. You know, you were at the table. We didn't order any bread. It just came to us, and I don't know who paid the bill, but if you did, I've got you. Thank you so much for this, and I really appreciate you being a part of the team. Eddie, who is a late addition to the team, but I've known for a very long time now, and I really want to thank you. I'll tell you something now that a lot of people are very happy about you, and the addition of you has made such a big difference. Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. Portia, you're excellent. Thank you. When we first had the meeting, I called Balisa. I was like, let's call Portia up. Portia is, for those of you, you might not know, but she is an excellent TV director. She has her own company, but she joined us on this project, and how she revised the idea and saw the idea come to life in her own head and share it so selflessly with us is an absolute gift. I thank you for that. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Angeke sikwazi. Thina soyikhuluma later lento le, because I'll tell you something. Timbisa is not scripted on the show. I was waiting to script you post, because this was meant to be a studio-led show where we see the team go off and do these little documentaries so that you can be guided in studio. But boy, was I wrong to think like that. I've seen you become a part of families. I've seen you so moved by the stories. We've had little conversations, but they've been so meaningful. I don't know who chose who here, but I think you chose us, because there is something about you. And I know this is a room filled with people, but I hope that there's a message for you guys out there or here, because I need to speak to this team, and I need to speak to you. Thank you so much for taking on this project. Thank you for being so kind. Thank you for being so you. There's an episode, and I don't know if it's the episode we'll see today, but I think it's Leo Mob. Yeah. She's a SAFTA award winner, so it makes sense. It makes so much sense. You know, when I sent out the brief, I was like, yo, sifuna, yabo, nje umuntu nje ngo-Andile wasokhumbula ekhaya with compassion. I don't know if that brief fits you. I think it's more than that. I think there couldn't have been a brief in words, because God was at play. And I think when we had our conversation, it was absolutely apparent that we were on the same path. I'm no longer really about doing stuff that doesn't mean anything. I think it's gotten me into a lot of trouble. And, you know, we are all given gifts. And I think I've got a gift. I can't run away from it. I've tried to go sell wine and sell other things. It just doesn't work. I'm meant to be here, and I'm meant to just allow the stories to come through. There's something, and I struggle. I don't know what to do. I don't like it, but I'm here. And I hope that this iteration of me, this version of me, is used accordingly. Because, yeah, anyway, you would have read the papers. The bigger picture is not to just do a funeral show. It's to do a show that helps. It's to do a show that means something. We're about restoring hope, and that journey is quite important. It's about honoring the dead whilst really healing the living. You would know that funerals really aren't about the dead. It's about the living. And that's what matters. At the end of the day, how does a family put together themselves again and live? And so I see this in our bottom line. I see this in the bottom lining of these shows. I see families happy again. They were not happy. They were not happy. I see them happy again. There is a powerful thing there. So really, we've gone national, and the response has shown itself in so many ways, you know. We are suffering, guys. There's so many things that we can do for each other. And I want us to really stand up. Once we watch this episode, ask yourselves what you can do. This is not only the beginning for Icebo Labantu. This is our call to action, our invitation to the nation to walk with us, toward compassion, toward dignity, towards healing. Let's leave this legacy. Let's build this legacy. For me, it's about love. For me, it's about community. So thank you, and welcome to Icebo Labantu.
Oh, thank